What's going on, everybody? Paul here, coming at you with your Crypto Coffee update, where we start the day by discussing news and upcoming events in the cryptoverse, all while enjoying our fresh cup of coffee. Our first segment is your News Bite. Alright everyone, you may be familiar with the phrase very much to do about nothing, and that's exactly what we're going to be talking about here today. I'm taking a task, everyone's favorite brand new technological miracle, the innovation heralded as the proverbial messiah of crypto and the alleged forebear of mass adoption. A wolf in sheep's clothing, so deeply shrouded in abject failure that it can only be dwarfed by the incessant ear-plugging screams of celebratory tweets lifted to the heavens by the economic and technologically illiterate, or at least semi-illiterate. Put on your tinfoil hats, folks, because we're going to get struck by the Lightning Network, which I guess would only work if you're in a microwave. Anyway, the Lightning Network is a new innovation for Bitcoin. It is a second layer solution, meaning the actual payments on the Lightning Network are not done on the Bitcoin blockchain, but rather are added at a later point in time. And this fact is justified by the need for speed in Bitcoin. As you may be aware, BTC transactions topped near $90 last year, and block confirmations took forever, meaning BTC was rendered pretty much useless for transactions that were quick and small, like coffee or a pack of gum. After all, nothing says efficiency like spending $25 and waiting an hour and a half for your coffee. Enter the Lightning Network, the critically acclaimed fix for the issue. Supposedly a, quote, lightning, hence the name, fast, easy to use, merchant-friendly solution, the reality of the situation is really anything but. Let's explore 4 examples of just how such grandiose promises remain undelivered and how the most dedicated of the Bitcoin community refuse to notice or even admit that these deficiencies actually exist. Alright, reason number 1, it's hard to use. And many seasoned Bitcoiners will laugh at you if you admit this. It's clearly not the fault of the system, you're just not smart enough to figure it out. And as anyone who's worked in sales will know, that's exactly what merchants love to hear. Sarcasm aside, that unfortunately seems to be the genuine sentiment for many members of the Bitcoin community. Someone wrote an article about setting up a Lightning node network in January, so it's not too outdated. Let's go ahead and go over some of the steps. First, you need a droplet with about 200 gigabytes of free space. Then use DigitalOcean to spin up a droplet with the docket pre-installed. Select the, quote, right boxes. Not kidding, they just says the right boxes. I don't mean if he means on the right side of the screen or what. And you add the SSH key and hit create. Then you choose the right node implementation, and even the author seems to offer a good amount of options for this, and then choose the correct one. And there's more! If any of this is confusing to you, don't worry, there's more on top of that. I have no doubt that your average specialist merchant will be more than happy to learn all these steps or simply hire somebody to do it, all for the good of the network. Look, if this is really all it took to set up a stable near-instant payment system, I wouldn't be so sarcastic, and I don't think merchants would care too much. But unfortunately, there's a lot more to the Lightning Network than just this arduous process of the initial setup. I'll also link to the article about how to install a Lightning node below in the description, and you guys can let me know if maybe I just don't know what I'm doing, or if this is legitimately pretty complicated, because it looks pretty daunting to me. Number 2, unsafe to use. There's been at least 2 reports of users losing their funds when disconnected from the Lightning Network and closing out their payment channels. Now, luckily, one of these guys was a developer for the Lightning Network and seemed pretty confident he could get his coins back, so they're not really lost. But if the guy who developed the network can have a major error like that, then how in the world does anyone expect a legitimate merchant to use Lightning Network regularly? Furthermore, why in the world was the network released on the mainnet if a bug still exists like that? That's a pretty big bug. The clear, rational economic calculation for merchants is just to wait until the tech improves, and that's not doing a lot for Bitcoin or mass adoption. Meanwhile, Lightning Network is a bad solution for merchant adoption at this time. I will go ahead and link the article as well to the loss of funds. Number 3, it's centralized. Okay, maybe Lightning Network isn't really great for merchants, but at least I can use it in smaller peer-to-peer transactions and show my friends how great near-instant decentralized technology is. It's getting there. But not so fast, Junior. Let's assume that Lightning Network is even decentralized, which, as we're seeing now, may very well not be the case. You see, Lightning Network is a payment routing system for which there's really no viable decentralized solution. The network must try all possible paths in a brute force method of selection as it attempts to connect to the desired location. Even the internet itself is subject to this routing system, as centrally managed tables or ISPs serve as a central point in routing. I'll read an excerpt from the very well-written Store of Value blog. Go check them out using the link as well in the description. It talks about how Lightning Network is all but decentralized. Quote, In fact, the Lightning Network's routing problem is even more complex than the internet's. To send a payment, not only does the network need to find a viable route, the connections in between need to have enough liquidity to support that payment. For example, if Alice wants to send some money to Fiona, 1 Bitcoin, and the network miraculously found a path from Alice to Bob to Charlie to Dave to Ellen to Fiona, if any of the channels, Alice to Bob, Bob to Charlie, etc., don't have at least 1 Bitcoin of liquidity, Alice cannot use that path. Put simply, this liquidity routing problem is a daunting one to solve that needs more discussion. One might counter by saying this might not be a problem at all if we kept the network topology simple, e.g. having large, highly liquid nodes that everyone connected to so that participants in the network are no more than 2 degrees of separation from one another. And then you realize this is a highly centralized solution that really defeats the whole purpose of Bitcoin. The Lightning Network is currently released as a beta of the mainnet, but if developers can't solve this liquidity routing problem, it might forever be stuck in beta. Unquote. Again, that's over from the Store of Value blog, absolutely worth checking out, below in the description. And finally, it's quite frankly unpopular. Lightning Network just isn't used that much despite its heralded launch. Despite Twitter looking like V-Day of 1945, as many popular members of the crypto community collectively lose their minds over the Lightning Network, not too many people seem to really be using it for utility, perhaps for all the reasons listed above. A Lightning Network tracker only shows that while the network has around 2,000 open payment channels, it's only showing an abysmally low volume of less than 5 Bitcoin on average. For such a celebrated achievement, it's absolutely astounding that the Lightning Network isn't sustaining higher volumes. In conclusion, the Lightning Network's hype to delivery ratio is mind-numbingly pathetic. Despite being heralded as a revolutionary solution to Bitcoin's problems, it instead proves to be a highly technocratic, centralized solution that, if emulated and reproduced in the future, will inevitably engender a mindset identical to that of the current centralized systems. Quote, "We as developers will do what we see fit. If you do not agree, you are a heretic. If it is confusing, you are an idiot. And if you have an other idea, you're a shill and a non-believer in the true path." This mindset's more akin to a religion than that of decentralized ledger technology. In my opinion, it would be best to leave that type of thinking in the halls of cathedrals or mosques and approach crypto with a pragmatic, empathetic, rather than technocratic top-down approach. After all, Occam's razor. That wraps it up for your news bite. Let's go ahead and get into your Crypto Coffee update for Monday, March 19th. There's the B Summit in Dubai. Bluezel's having a meetup in Hong Kong, and AirSwap will be in Hong Kong for their meetup as well. Decent is having an AMA, and Sonam's having an AMA. Traxia is going to be the first ICO out on the Cardano platform, so congratulations to Cardano. Gnosis X is launching today, an upgrade to the Gnosis platform. And Bitcore is, as always, having their weekly airdrop, always consistent from them. Good to see. Moving into Tuesday, March 20th, Token 2049 is happening in Hong Kong. Self-proclaimed to be the largest digital asset event in Asia, we'll see names like Lisk, Neo, Waves, EOS, and Dash, as well as 1,000 attendees and 100 speakers from over 30 countries. Pretty big event. Next up, we have EOS, which will be having their Intro to Blockchain event in Virginia. Pundi is having a token swap. Creative Coin is releasing their platform, which looks really neat, to be honest. I think it's really cool that they're having an artistic kind of platform. That's super cool. Nulls is releasing their testnet, and that wraps it up for Tuesday, March 20th. And that's it for your Crypto Coffee update. Thanks so much, as always, guys. Your support is appreciated. We also have a bunch of B-list coins that didn't quite make it to the main cut. They're not high up there on CoinMarketCap, and some of the data was indeterminate. However, if you think these are great projects and you want to see them on the main list, let me know. And if there's anything that you know that's going on, maybe a recipe you want to share or something happening with a giant coin that I just somehow missed a glaringly obvious thing, pass it my way. We're all in this together. As always, like, share, subscribe. Love you guys. Talk to you next time.